Welcome back to Self-Invested. My name's Lemuel, and in this video I'm going to explain what the different Help to Buy equity loan deadlines are, what happens if they are missed, and why there's a deadline in October 2022 when the scheme actually ends on the 31st of March 2023. I'm also going to look at 3 non-government scheme alternatives to Help to Buy that will still be available after March next year. But firstly, if you're new to my channel, then I'd just like to say that I have many in-depth videos breaking down different aspects of Help to Buy and other schemes such as shared ownership and the first home scheme. You can find a link to the playlist down in the description, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like and go and check out my other videos. So there are 3 deadlines for the Help to Buy equity loan scheme. The first is on the 31st of October 2022 at 6 p.m. By this time, you need to have submitted your property information form to your local Help to Buy agent. This is usually done after you've reserved the home with a developer and appointed a solicitor or conveyancer and mortgage advisor to work with you. The form isn't overly complicated, but you do need to provide the details of your solicitor, and there are questions about your finances. So you need to make sure you've appointed a solicitor by this point, and it would be sensible to have had financial or mortgage advice by this point as well. The next deadline is the 31st of December 2022. By this point, the home you're buying needs to have reached practical completion, which is a contractual term in the construction industry that means the property has been built and is ready for you to live in. The third deadline is the 31st of March 2023 at 6 p.m. By this point, the purchase of your home must be legally complete, and it is expected that you will have the keys to your new home by 6 p.m. If the developer hasn't reached practical completion by the 31st of December 2022, or legal completion cannot happen by the 31st of March 2023, then the developer must return your reservation fee in full. And if contracts have been exchanged, then the developer must unconditionally release you from the contract and refund your deposit in full as quickly as possible. However, there may still be fees to pay, such as your surveyor fees and conveyancer fees. So why has the government set a deadline of the 31st of October 2022 when the scheme is supposed to end on the 31st of March 2023? Well, the government has staggered the deadlines for the scheme because it wants to ensure that all Help to Buy a home purchases are legally complete by the 31st of March 2023. And home buyers are not submitting late applications when there won't be a realistic chance of them completing their purchase by this date. By setting an initial application deadline, which is 6 months ahead of when the scheme ends, it gives applicants a sufficient amount of time to complete the purchase of their home before the final deadline. Just so you have an idea of how long the home buying process can take, when my wife and I were purchasing our flat, it took 5 months from when we had our offer accepted to when we had completed the purchase of our home, even though there was no chain and we were buying an existing home. So it doesn't seem unreasonable to set an earlier deadline for applications 6 months ahead of the final deadline. The first Help to Buy alternative I'm going to cover is Nationwide's Help in Hand mortgage. This is because one of the major benefits of Help to Buy is that it increases your buying power by allowing you to borrow more. And Nationwide's Help in Hand mortgage does this as well by enabling you to borrow up to 22% more than a typical mortgage. For example, with a salary of 50k, the maximum mortgage you'd typically be able to borrow would be around 225k, which is 4.5 times your salary. However, with a Help in Hand mortgage, you'd be able to get a mortgage of up to 5.5 times your salary, which would work out to around £275,000, 22% more than a typical mortgage. Now, this will not increase the amount that you can borrow as much as a 20% Help to Buy equity loan, which if you had a 5% deposit would increase the amount you can borrow by around 27%. But Nationwide's Help in Hand mortgage is available to use on existing homes as well as new builds. and existing builds tend to be around 20% cheaper than an equivalent new build. So it's very likely you'll be able to get more for your money going with an existing build using Nationwide's Help in Hand mortgage than you would with a 20% equity loan going for a new build property. If you want to learn more about the cost of buying a new build versus existing, then I've made a video comparing upfront costs with the ongoing costs. You can find a link to it above my head now, but also down in the description. Nationwide have also lowered their minimum deposit requirements for the Help in Hand mortgage, meaning that you can now buy a home with a deposit as low as 5%, which is the same as the Help to Buy equity loan. If you want to learn more about Nationwide's Help in Hand mortgage, then you can have a watch of a video I made on it, going into a lot more detail. Again, you can find the link above my head now, but also down in the description. Now, if you need to borrow more in order to buy a home, and you can save a bigger deposit, then my second alternative to the Help to Buy equity loan may be just what you need. My second Help to Buy alternative is Habito's One Mortgage, which allows you to borrow up to 7 times your salary, which means with a 50k salary, you'd be able to borrow up to 350k. That's 56% more than a typical mortgage. Now, if you have a 10% deposit with a 40% Help to Buy equity loan, you could borrow up to 11% more than this in total with the same deposit amount. But as with the Help in Hand mortgage, the Habito One mortgage is also available on existing homes. So it's likely you'll be able to get more for your money if you use an Habito One mortgage to buy an existing home than you would with the Help to Buy equity loan at 40% if you went for a new build instead. Now, the minimum deposit requirement for a Habito One mortgage is 10%, which is more than the minimum requirement for a Help to Buy equity loan. And there are some specific requirements, such as only certain professions, doctors, teachers and nurses are eligible. But if you do qualify and have at least a 10% deposit, then this could be a great option for you. I haven't yet made a specific in-depth video about this product, but if you would like me to do an in-depth breakdown, then please leave a comment down in the comments below. Now, I just want to say here that I've presented these two products, the Nationwide Help in Hand mortgage and the Habito One mortgage, as alternatives to the Help to Buy loan when the scheme ends. And I'm conscious that because I presented them in this way, it may come across as these options are not as good as the Help to Buy equity loan. But I actually think these options are preferable to the Help to Buy equity loan. In the short term, using a Help to Buy loan may be cheaper monthly cost because it allows you to secure a lower loan to value mortgage, which are generally cheaper, and there is no interest to pay on the equity loan for the first 5 years. But overall, I think Nationwide's and Habito's products could work out cheaper and give you more flexibility for the following reasons. Firstly, these products work like traditional mortgages, so are for fixed amounts and the outstanding loan is paid down every month. Whereas with the equity loan, only the interest is paid on a monthly basis and the outstanding loan, which eventually needs to be repaid through a separate process which is quite costly, increases with the value of the property. Secondly, these products are traditional mortgages, so you'll own 100% of your home and shouldn't be required to get any non-statutory permission to undertake home renovations. With the Help to Buy equity loan, however, if you want to make any structural changes to your home, such as knock through a wall, to make some open plan living, or build an extension, you'd need to get permission from them first. Thirdly, these products can be used to buy existing builds as well as new builds, whereas the Help to Buy equity loan can only be used to buy a new build home, which are usually more expensive than existing homes. This means although you won't be able to borrow as much with these products, in many cases you'll be able to buy more home with the money you can borrow. So as you can see, Nationwide and Habito's products and others like them are not less good options and could work out better in a number of ways than the Help to Buy equity loan. My third and final alternative to the Help to Buy scheme is for people that are dead set on buying a new build home have a big enough salary to get the mortgage they need, but are struggling to save more than a 5% deposit. I've added this option because with the nationwide product, you need at least a 15% deposit for a new build house and at least a 25% deposit for a new build flat. And with Habito's product, you need at least a 10% deposit for a new build house and a 15% deposit for a new build flat. And this is similar to the wider mortgage market because lenders generally don't offer 5% deposits mortgages on new build homes because they view them as riskier investments since new build homes are sold at a premium. That is why developers have partnered with lenders to start the Deposit Unlock scheme, which enables first-time buyers and existing home owners to purchase new build homes with a 5% deposit. This scheme will not help you borrow more money, but it will help you buy a new build home with a small deposit if you're able to secure a big enough mortgage with your salary. I haven't made a specific video on the scheme, but there are currently 25 developers and 3 lenders involved with this scheme. If you want me to do a more in-depth video on this scheme, then let me know down in the comments. Having said that, if you want to read up more on any of these Help to Buy alternatives in the meantime, then I'll provide some useful links down in the description of this video. Now that brings us to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, make sure you give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.